So then you've got children, family.
I do. I've got three kids who are big and grown at this point. But
What
yep.
does that mean? They're out on their own. They're little fishes off on their own, doing their own thing.
Yes and no. I actually have a full house. My middle kiddo, so they're 30, 23, 21. My
Okay.
middle kiddo was in a motorcycle accident three
Oh,
years
I'm sorry.
ago.
I'm so sorry.
And that's, I wish it was different, but you play the cards that you're dealt. And so he requires 24/7 care. And so
Oh,
my other kids are amazing and moved home, and we take care of him here at home. And so we have a full and
okay.
busy house. My mom also lives with us. So, lots going on here.
Okay, and again, we're just met. I hope you take this as for what it's worth. All the stuff then going on in your life, and you think somehow you want to be a senator and want to go up there and play with all the other problems we got in the world that don't ever seem to get solved. Are you Lutheran? Because you seem like you were raised like I did, and guilt is your money language, and you got to do more, and you got right. Is that it? I guessed
I
it.
would.
Did I?
I am not Lutheran, but I will
Oh,
say, responsibility is my middle name, probably. It's just like who I am and what I do. And
wow.
yeah, I've got lots going on in my life, but I will say, lots going on in my life that helps and informs the work that I do in St. Paul. I mean,
That's fair. That's fair. I'm just saying that with all you've got going, the last thing I'm thinking, maybe I can go to St. Paul for 4 months and work on the problems of the day. That'd be great. But you're there and you're doing it, and I thank you for that. You're on a couple of committees, if I'm not mistaken: education, education policy, elections, and then health and human services.
yes. And I'm the vice chair of housing and homelessness prevention as well.
Okay. Okay. Um, what do you have that with those different committees? You're from Rochester. Do you have anything that specifically for you or Rochester, your area, that you're going to get through this mess? And I call it a mess: 34, 33, 67, 67. If you get anything done for your area any these days, you've knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, challenging times for sure. As you ask about sort of specific things for my area, my mind goes to, a bonding bill. That is, there's certainly sort of specific projects related to that. And,
Do you think the bonding will get done? I'm sorry for interrupting. Do you think that's something can get done if we can't get the budget done?
I mean, I think it's possible for sure. It's possible. It's a matter of folks coming to the table and not using it as a bargaining chip negotiating tool. I mean, it's very possible to do. Will it happen? You know, we will see.
Oh, come on. Give me a numbers. It's 50-50 whether it happens. Is it 60-40 because people should do this and they know they should?
People
I
should do it and know they should.
uh,
That doesn't mean that it happens. I am not a betting woman, but, I'd put it at probably 50-50 at this point.
oh.
I certainly
At,
hope that
at
it's
this point, in two
different,
and a half
but
weeks out, that's just such a. It's sad, but that's the truth we're living in. All right, you had a bill for the most important project going on, the scuba bill. I find this interesting. I tried to scuba one time. I don't do the math. I can't do the thing. You're passing a scuba bill. What's the scuba bill? And
yeah,
good for you.
happy to talk about this. I will also say I have never scuba dived, and I
Oh,
am not super claustrophobic, but I don't know if I would how I would do.
see, I don't
But
think I'm claustrophobic. You get the mask on, and then and I don't. It's not pleasurable.
yeah,
All
I
right.
I don't really have any interest in doing it, I will say. But this is a bill that came to me actually through two families who lost their sons
Oh,
doing work involved with scuba gear. And so this, I've learned a whole lot through this process that I didn't know. I didn't even know this was a thing. That there is lake weed removal that uses the workers use scuba gear. This is we have
okay.
10,000 lakes. It's work that has to be done. It's often, kids, teenagers, early 20s. They earn some money in the summertime.
This would
But
be kind of
in
cool if you could do it. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. You do it with your friends and you're outside and, sort of a good deal. However, we do not have state laws that mandate training for that scuba gear. So really the stories are tragic of these boys who,
Wow.
they were both of them in their first week of work and they were sort of just handed scuba gear and were like, okay, go get in this lake using this scuba
Wow.
gear.
I thought
And
you had
they
to be
drowned.
licensed. Why did I think you had to go to a class and do that? You don't.
You
Wow.
don't, now you will. The bill is getting signed
Okay.
today. And
Oh,
so now
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So now, doing that work, people will have to be certified for scuba gear, but before didn't have to.
Well, then the next next question: if we haven't had scuba classes to get licensed up till now, are there people in the world that do scuba lessons, or is this online, or you know what I'm saying? How does get one then if we've never had one?
Yeah, I mean there are classes out there. There just wasn't the requirement to do it. So it'll be the
No,
same training as, like if you're going on vacation and you want to get scuba
no.
certified to go, scuba on your vacation. It's the same certification. So they are out there, they're available. It just
Okay.
wasn't required.
I'll be darned. Well, congratulations. I mean, the problem fixed that I didn't know I had because I'm not doing it. We'll be back after this. We'll talk about what's going on with the bonding and the budget and that sort of thing. Where Senator Liz Boldon thinks this thing is going. We'll do it right after this on the Al Travis Show.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
There are many ways to explore Alexandria. Some like to experience the outdoors and all the fun winter in Minnesota can provide. Pick your favorite way to get in touch with nature. Others like to explore downtown in the warm comfort of a boutique or gathered around a table with friends. You can do all of that or relax and do nothing at all. Come explore Alexandria. Start planning at explorealex.com.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
Lucky to have her with us. She is Senator Liz Boldon. The reason I say that, besides she seems pretty nice, is she is the Assistant Majority Leader. So we're going right to about the tippity top as far as we can go. Let me ask you this. It's just between you and I. So have they been telling you all we'll get this thing done on time when it comes to passing the budget? Or are they kind of telling Liz, Senator, don't make any plans for June? Can you tell? Come on. We're not getting this thing done, are we?
Listen, It is possible to get done. I am still very hopeful that we will get done on time.
Well, yeah, but you're
I'm forever an
that's
optimist.
yeah,
but-
that's what I'm saying. That's who you are. You have to fight the reality of this. I'm going to throw it out to you. We're now less than 3 weeks from getting this thing done. As far as I can tell, reading whatever I can find, the House is so far different than the Senate that we haven't got it to the conference committee. You're going to go there and find, wait a minute, this. So you got, come on, just between us. You all got to be telling your people out there, guys, either we got to start changing direction or don't make plans for the summer.
Listen, I think it's both. I think it's,
Okay.
you hope for the best and plan for the worst. And so,
Okay.
I think it's possible to get done in time. I think it's also fair to say, don't make plans because, the reality is we have responsibility. We have to get this done. And whether it's on or before May 19th or whether it takes a little bit longer, we will get done.
Well, you have to. I agree that it has to get done. Something will get done. But let me ask you this. How do you feel it is going? On the Senate side, this is the guts I get with the people I talk to, is that the Senate seems to be rolling along, getting their poop in a scoop, if you pardon the expression.
Yeah.
On the House side, again, the difference is one, they're even over there. That's not going as smoothly, and I am hearing that it sure would be nice to know if the governor was involved at this stage and not waiting to come in after, you know what I'm saying? So it seems a little jumbled.
Yeah, I will say, I don't have a very good window into what is happening in the House, but I will speak on the Senate side. And, there are differences, certainly. And, with a tied House, there are challenges for sure, to put it
Yeah.
mildly. And, it will take a lot of work to get to the place where we need to go. But, we're willing to put in that work. And, the other pieces are targets are different right now in the Senate versus the House. And so there's differences to be ironed out.
For folks who don't know, explain that to them, Senator, because what I don't understand is why the first step out of management on both sides wouldn't be, let's get the same target, we'll work from there backwards. Right now, you're working at a budget in the Senate that doesn't necessarily match up with the House, and now, somebody comes in, well, I don't have $20 million, I cut that out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It seems backwards.
I mean, that I will say that is the usual process. It is pretty unusual that we have joint targets, which is, we had trifecta previously. And so,
That was easy, yeah.
we were able to come to joint targets sooner. It is the more usual process that, the governor puts out his budget, the Senate puts out their budget, the House puts out their budget. And those targets usually are different, and then we have to come together. And so, the math has been done a little bit differently in the House versus the Senate, but, in the end, we have to come together. You're exactly right. And so, from the Senate side, you're right. We are moving along. We're passing our budget bills off the floor this week and next, and we're getting the work done. And next step is then we've got to meet up with the House and come together.
What do you believe will be the biggest sticking point, if I can ask? What will be that one thing? I know mine, and I'm going to throw it out there to help if this is yours. I think when Speaker of the House Damon puts her foot down and said no new taxes, and that's and now will 66 others stand behind her on that. I have no idea. But with her sticking that stake in the ground, it makes a lot of more pieces unmovable. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm saying it right. That's my thought. And again, I'm not saying she's right or wrong. I am just saying that once she says that, all the other pieces got to jiggle around that to make the puzzle work, right?
Yeah. I think that is for sure going to be a sticking point. And I guess my question to that then is, what is the plan? We are trying to put our budget together for the state of Minnesota for the next 2 years. That is our constitutional responsibility. We have to balance our budget. We don't have the ability to print money like the federal government. We have to balance it. And we're doing it in a time when things are so unpredictable. About a third of our budget comes from the federal level.
Yeah.
And just with the uncertainty and the chaos we are seeing there, it's hard to know what is happening one day to the next. Funding is on, it's off, tariffs are on, they're off. And that affects our budget. And so with the cuts that we have seen just, to date have been just dramatic, really, really impactful to our budget. And so, we're going to have to continue to have that raising revenue question, because with the cuts that we have already seen thus far, it's just like, we have to have that conversation.
Let me ask you and just push back a little on a little bit. Do you have to, or do you watch out for that $5 or $6 billion 4-year out number? They're saying we might have a deficit of that. You only have to balance for 2 years, and if I'm not mistaken, we have $256 million in the plus or whatever. I mean, there is no real reason in this session you have to, except it would make next session a whole lot harder. How much pre-planning are you doing for the $6 billion or $5 billion, whatever it is?
You're right. So sort of big picture, we're in a bit of a surplus still today. And we do a 2-year budget, but then we look out to the 2 years after that, which not many states do that. We are one of the states that does that, which is a smart thing to do, to look into the future. But you are correct. We are only required to balance the next budget. Our Senate budget does balance what we call into the tails, which is those further out years. Because we feel like that's the responsible thing to do. And so that's what our budget does. The other piece of that, again, is we're not in normal times. We don't know what future cuts are going to come. And so we want to put ourselves in as good a position as possible to set us up for success into the future.
Can I, and again, I'm not attacking, but if we're going to look 4 years out, 2 and 4 years out, you'd only have to go back 2 years, and there was $18 billion of a surplus. Is there any talk, even on your side, saying might have overplayed our hand a scotch to put us in this spot, or is it hey, we do what we got to do, and we're going to find out? I'm not pushing it. I'm just saying that now we're talking in those 6 years. It's a heck of a swing.
It is a swing, and what I would say about that is just we're in a very different situation. The reason that we had the very large surplus previously was by and large one-time money from the feds. And so, that one-time money doesn't allow us to build things into our budget for future. So, we invested that money into, things for Minnesotans, things like, healthcare and education and housing, things that impact people's daily lives. And so, I don't feel like that was the wrong thing. I feel like that was absolutely the right thing, and sets us up to be now in a better place than we would have been had we just given tax cuts to the very wealthy.
Well, and I would throw out again, I'm not arguing with you at all. One-time money, we agree that was pretty much flush with one-time money, but it sets up our budget differently. What I mean by that, we're about $54 billion. We spend that one-time money, and now our base, what we're talking about, is cutting from $70 billion. It was one-time money. If we had spent it on one-time places, we should be taking $54 million, our billion, and we'll work from there. It's a weird who's who and how you got to be an accountant to keep up, and I just don't think the average Minnesotan does. I'm glad you're doing it. I'm completely out of time. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this show. I really do appreciate you, and good luck between now and whenever the end of session is.
Thank you for having me.
All right, keep up the good work. More after this.